Okay, just going to demonstrate the new wizard for importing Excel questionnaires, or indeed any Excel file, into NVivo. It used to be a 30-page tutorial. It's now a very short video because they've automated in QSR almost all of this work. To show you what we're going to do, I've set up a blank database here, so it's literally as you would create it out of the box, nothing in it. And this is typically what data would look like coming in from a mixed methods questionnaire, whether it was one that was populated from questionnaires or imported from SurveyMonkey or Qualtrics. It would look like this. You would have a column that would have the record ID, and you would have your closed questions, which would be demographics, for example, or boxes that people might have ticked, say answering a Likert scale question on a questionnaire. Basically, it's quantitative data, and that's those two columns. And then we have some open-ended questions, which is rich in unstructured data, so that's qualitative, and that's here, open-ended questions. And that's the components that any of these sheets would have. We just need to check that which column, which row our data is on, the fields. So just to ensure that they're all on the same row, and that the record IDs are independent, that they're unique, that there isn't duplicate participant 5. So you just check that and then you're ready to go, pretty much. And as I said, if it was coming from the likes of SurveyMonkey, you probably wouldn't even have to check that. There is a direct wizard as well for importing from SurveyMonkey. So in the data tab up here, we're going to do an import survey from Excel. And I suppose it's worth saying that this tutorial assumes that you understand the concept of the case node and classifications, but we'll explain as we demonstrate this anyway. So if I go to my my questionnaire, it's a sample mixed methods questionnaire, I get this wizard. So I simply say next to that, this is checking that I've got the right tab, because there can be certain sheets, you can have multiple sheets in the Excel table and you can choose which one you want. And it's checking that the first column are the headers, or the first row are the headers, should I say. So that's okay. It's going to name my folder here where I'm going to put my cases. It's going to use the ID, the first column, which I've called cases in the spreadsheet. It's going to use that as the name for the cases, and it's going to create a new classification called survey respondent, which will be the closed questions. Now, this is important because this one allows me to check whether I've tagged the open and closed questions correctly. So NVivo is reading each column of the Excel table and establishing whether it's an open or closed question. And sometimes it may get that wrong. So for example, this question here is a very short answer. You've got quite a few very short answers, so it thinks it's a quantitative field. So I've now changed that manually to an open-ended question. Or sometimes if you have very long questions, like say a list of statements that people pick from, and that might be mistakenly read as an open-ended or qualitative field, so you have to manually adjust. So once you've checked that and you know which questions are open or closed, I'm going to skip this bit here. Well, actually no, I'll run them, I'll show you this. But this is only an option available in the Plus version of NVivo. So these two particular things, like auto-coding to themes and sentiment, would only be available in the Plus release. So I'm going to finish that, and you can see the entire process has been automated and my NVivo database has been set up correctly. So let's see what we've got first of all. That's my table that I've just imported from Excel with my open and closed questions. That's known as a data set. This is a sentiment analysis. So you can see it's got quite a bit of neutral data in it, and positive and negative. And there's different ways you can look at that. You can look at that in a sunburst as well, and you can drill into it and see how much was positive, negative, or neutral in the responses that you got. That part is only available in Plus. The autocode for sentiment is also displayed as a matrix, and this is my auto-coded themes. So I'm going to just close this down and show you what I have here. Under internals, I have my question. Under nodes, I have my auto-coded themes, so that's actually read and coded reoccurring phrases or words that may have occurred in my questionnaire. You may or may not find that useful. But there's this one you will definitely use. These are all my open-ended questions now coded. So if I open that up, there's all my responses to question 2, and you can see they're now ready to be coded on into subnodes here. If I have time and space for myself is an option here, so I'll call this creating time and space for myself, creating time for myself, let's call it. So I create my codes and I can now populate them, and I have all the responses to the various open questions. These are my cases, so for each what would have been a row in the Excel table, I have all the responses from participant 1. So there's the 2 questions that participant 1 answered. But more critically, linked to that case in the properties are the closed questions. So you're now connecting what people said to who they are, their identity, tangibles like their demographics, profiling information, or closed questions to the intangibles that you're coding for, like attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors. That's also linked to this case classification sheet, which gives me the same information, but not by case. It gives me the whole database, and that's now set up. And because that's now set up as a properly constituted NVivo database, I can go to my attitudinal nodes, and I can cross-reference the rich data that I've coded for with the closed questions. I can see, for example, what's the gender balance in that particular node. Can take out anything that's unassigned or not applicable, and there's the benefit of having a properly constituted NVivo database. So any questions on that, you can address them to qdatraining.eu, info@qdatraining.eu.